Hi there, this is Sarah Neighbor with Sarah Loves to Stamp, and today I'm bringing you a video on heat embossing. If you're familiar with embossing at all, this is the type that you do with a powder, and so I'm going to show you a couple of ways I like to do that, but first I'm going to show you some samples that use all of our different types of embossing powders that Stampin' Up! Sells. These are cards that I received in a swap at Leadership this past January. And so they're not my designs, I'm not taking credit for them, but they are beautiful, so I wanted to share them with you guys today. So this is, the first one here is from using the Tea Shop set from the Occasions mini catalog, and this is an example of our colored embossing powders. So this one obviously features the white embossing powder, and my friend Desiree made this, and it's on the Pacific Point cardstock, so you can see how beautiful that is, and it just gives it just a beautiful glossy look. We also have our colored embossing powders in black, and that was the white obviously, and then we also have it in some of our exclusive colors: Cherry Cobbler, Tempting Turquoise, Tangerine, Tango, Wild Wasabi, and Melon, Mambo. And I'll list those all on my blog so you can see all the different options. The next type of embossing powder, and probably the one I use most often, is just clear. So you would stamp with your Versamark pad, and then you use clear embossing powder, and you get that tone on tone, but it has that beautiful, gloss to it just from the embossing. So that's probably the one I use most. I really like to use that in backgrounds. And then the next one, and this is also really neat, this is called Iridescent Ice Embossing Powder, and it's just a clear glitter, so it picks up whatever color paper you have below it, or when I show you later these and the colored inks, it would show that color through it. And the thing I really like about it is it's a great way to add glitter to a card without the glitter. See, it doesn't come off like loose glitter does. So I love that. And then the next kind is our metallic embossing powders. This one features both the gold and the silver on this main image, and it's a really neat technique, and I'll have to show it to you guys soon, but it's just really cool. So, and then the silver obviously here too. We also have Pewter, which is a little bit darker than the silver. And then finally, they just came out with scented embossing powders. So this sample features the cherry scented embossing powders, and obviously you can't smell it through the camera, but they do smell really, really good. And so we have those in cherry, vanilla, and melon, and they go really well with that mouth-watering stamp set, which is what this is. And again, those are in the Occasions mini catalog. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the embossing powders we offer. They are sold like this, and one jar will last you just such a long time. And I think they're, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're $4.75. I'll post on the video if I'm wrong, but I think it's $4.75. So they last a really long time, and they're really good value. So there's that. I store mine, except for my colored ones, I store them actually in these. They're just a Rubbermaid little thing, and I store them with a spoon in them, so they're super easy to use. You'll see that in a second. So I'm going to get started with the colored embossing powder. I'm going to use the white. Sorry I'm reaching through here, but I have all my stuff. Oh, that's Iridescent Ice. Oops, sorry, my white's over here. Just kidding. Alright, so here's my white. And you can see I labeled this when I stamped on it with Stays On an alphabet set, but I have them all labeled like this with the modern label punch and just a Sharpie. So I got tired of trying to stamp it, and some of the names were quite a bit longer. So anyway, that's that. Now, to emboss, you need an ink, you need a paper, you need the embossing buddy. I store mine just in a Ziploc bag here. That just helps the static from your embossing powder not stick to places it's not supposed to be. And you need a heat tool and, of course, whatever embossing powder. The heat tool from Stampin' Up! Is amazing. It heats up so much faster than any other heat tool I've ever used, and I really recommend it. I think it's wonderful. I used to have this other one, and I don't use it anymore. Now, this has a powder in it. That's why I stored it in that baggie, and you can kind of see that powder kind of gets everywhere. So go ahead and use your embossing buddy to get that on there. And then I'm using the Mixed Bunch stamp set today, which is really fun. It is a matching punch, so I always love those. So I'm going to use this flower image, and I'm just going to ink it up with the Versamark ink pad. And this is just a watermarking ink pad, so it's like kind of clear, but you can see where you are, and it's really pretty just to leave alone too. But anyway, there you can see it. And then before it dries, you want to be kind of speedy. You don't have to hurry. You need to get your embossing powder, and you can see here I just have my spoon. I'm just spooning it on here. And then I'm going to tap off the extra, and then, oh, see, there's my mess up. And then I'm just going to flick it. Okay, so there's that. And then once you have that, you are ready to use your heat tool and actually emboss. And what you're looking for is, right now it looks kind of powdery, and I'm not sure you can tell that, but it's powdery. I mean, you can see it in person. And so you're looking for it to change, and you'll see it change. It'll look glossy. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it on the video, but I will speed up this part because you probably don't want to listen to my heat gun. Okay, so I think I got it all heated through. You can see how beautiful that is. And what I was talking about before, the embossing buddy prevents like stuff like that from happening. And there's a little spot in there too where a few extra pieces stuck. Oh, I do this every time I film a video. There's a little spot that's not embossed. Okay, sorry about that. There's a little spot that still, you could tell it was powder. So be on the lookout for that. If it looks dull, you know it's powder. Alright, so that's that. And then I'm going to show you with our craft Stampin' Spots as well. Our craft Stampin' Spots come by family, and this is the Brights family. It's my favorite, and I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight. And again, I'm using the mixed bunch stamp set with a different one. Now remember, our craft ink pads are pigment-based inks, so they are very different from our dye-based inks. These ones are the ones you want to use if you are scrapbookers. And also if you're going to, sorry, I'm focusing on getting that done. Also if you're going to emboss, because they do stay wet longer. So if you use them and you're not going to emboss, they do take a little time to dry, so patience is definitely needed. But they produce a beautiful effect. They almost look kind of, I don't know, pastel-y. It's beautiful. And then again, I'm using my embossing buddy. I should have probably done that before I put the ink on, but that's alright, we'll do our best. And then you want to just go ahead and stamp. I just want to put even pressure, firm and even pressure, and then pull it off. Oops, sorry, hit the camera. Yeah, it didn't turn out as great as I would prefer, but, and you can see there's a couple spots I missed, but, anyway, sometimes that happens, and you know, for the purposes of this video, I just wanted you to get an idea of what I'm doing. I know that, you know, it's not going to probably be perfect. And it looks like I need some more clear embossing powder. I'm running out. Okay, so you're just going to get all your embossing powder on it and heat it again. I'm just going to flip this over and show you an example of one that I already did. Okay, so that's what it looks like when you use a color underneath. And that's how you can make really any color that we carry in our main 40 color line. And it's really nice because, you know, there's 5 that are offered as embossing powders, but this way you can get all of them. So I just wanted to show you those couple of tricks today, and I hope you enjoyed this Quick Tip Tuesday. I know it's going to be posted a little late, so I do apologize about that. I've had some technical difficulties again this week, for crying out loud. So anywho, thank you so much for watching. I hope you tune in next week, and have a great weekend. Bye.